A young woman walks into a luxury hotel for the very first time, and let me tell you, her attitude is beyond arrogant. She's incredibly rude, doesn't use a single word of politeness, and leaves the receptionist completely speechless and frustrated. But then comes the ultimate plot twist. This girl is actually Monet, the heiress to the entire hotel. Everyone in the lobby is absolutely stunned. Right at that moment, the vice chairman and the general manager, Jae-wan, happen to arrive. Monet immediately runs over and gives her uncle, the vice chairman, a warm, enthusiastic hug. However, if you look closely at their faces, all three of them look like they are hiding their own dark agendas. As it turns out, just a few days ago, Monet's father, the chairman of the hotel, passed away suddenly. At that time, Jae-wan, acting as the general manager, was pouring all his energy into preparing for the hotel's anniversary celebration. Out of nowhere, the chairman fell from a high floor, crashing right into the middle of the swimming pool. The scene turned into instant chaos as the water was quickly stained a deep, horrifying red. Looking at the man lying dead right in front of him, Jae-wan's face wasn't filled with grief, but with pure rage. Why? Because the chairman chose to die rather than admit that Jae-wan was his son. This left Jae-wan with a heart heavy with bitterness and no one to turn to for comfort. He had to swallow those complex emotions all by himself, trapped in a cycle of love and hate for the father who had abandoned him. Only a few days prior, Jae-wan had confronted the chairman, telling him that he was the very child the chairman had thrown away in exchange for success. To his shock, the chairman flatly denied it, claiming Jae-wan wasn't his son at all. Jae-wan had planned to wait until after the anniversary to settle the matter, intending to expose the truth to the world if the chairman still refused to acknowledge him. But he never expected that instead of a confession, he would witness the chairman taking his own life by jumping from the building. As news of the chairman's self-construction spread like wildfire, the hotel's business took a massive nosebleed. During all this, Monet was abroad, and after facing countless obstacles, she finally made it back to the hotel. Even though her father had just died, she acted completely unfazed, as if nothing had happened. When Jae-wan asked if she felt any sadness at all, she coldly replied that she and her father never really had any feelings for each other. But a split second later, when she caught sight of a painting her father had cherished while he was alive, her eyes turned red with held-back tears. Luckily for her, Jae-wan didn't notice. Once she got to her room and pulled back the curtains, she found herself staring directly at the spot where her father had fallen. A staff member named Woo-hyun saw her lonely silhouette from behind and, thinking she was crying, stepped forward to comfort her. But nope, Shae was actually just busy peeling off her fake eyelashes. Immediately after, she pulled out her lipstick and started acting out, trashing everything in the room. She demanded that every single item she marked be replaced with something brand new, then aggressively told Woo-hyun to get to work. However, the moment Woo-hyun left, the tough girl persona she had worked so hard to maintain instantly crumbled. She remembered the struggles she faced trying to get back to the country and her father's very last phone call, where he warned her, "Don't trust anyone." She absolutely does not believe her father committed self-destruction. So, to uncover the truth, she has officially begun her plan for revenge. Not long after, the chairman's voice suddenly echoed through the hotel's PA system, sending chills down everyone's spine. But when checked, the staff in the broadcasting room insisted that no one had been there since breakfast. Realizing Monet might be behind these mind games, Jae-wan stormed over to her room. But what did he find? She was just casually playing video games. That wasn't all. Strange things were happening in the late chairman's office too. Seeing the ink was still wet on some documents, Jae-wan knew for sure that someone was playing tricks. Just as he was about to leave, he noticed a window was wide open. He then realized the window in Monet's room was also open. Combined with the fact that she wears hiking boots and her hobby is rock climbing, the pieces of the puzzle started coming together. He immediately headed to the security room to check the surveillance footage, only to run right into Monet, who was already standing there. When faced with his direct questioning, Monet obviously chooses to play dumb. Jae-wan doesn't want to waste any more breath on her, simply telling her that he's going to review every single security camera in the hotel. Monet was planning to keep up her act, but the second she heard him mention the cameras, she completely panicked. She ends up following Jae-wan straight to the security room. But guess what? When they check the footage, they're both in for a massive shock. The entire recording for that specific time frame has been wiped clean. This catches Monet totally off guard. Afterwards, she leaves quietly, feeling like a huge weight has been lifted. But who on earth was secretly helping her? Even Monet can't wrap her head around it. That is, until she spots a familiar face. Manager Baek. Monet immediately realizes it was likely her, since Baek had caught her climbing through the window that day. She tentatively asks if she was the one behind it, and surprisingly, Manager Baek flat out admits it. She tells Monet that the truly terrifying thing isn't a camera, but the human eye, because eyes can't be erased, and they can't be faked. After dropping that bombshell, Manager Baek coldly walks away, leaving Monet standing there in a daze. Based on this alone, she has no idea if this woman is a friend or a foe. In another twist, Jae-wan gets a major earful from the vice chairman because of Monet's little stunts. This leaves him feeling incredibly stressed and heavy-hearted. As he's leaving, the two of them accidentally cross paths again. And thanks to this chance encounter, Jae-wan catches a glimpse of Monet's vulnerable side. It turns out this girl, who acts like she's not afraid of anything in the world, is deathly afraid of birds. With Jae-wan's help, Monet finally manages to catch her breath. He asks if she's scared of birds, but Monet stays stubborn to the end. "Who said I'm scared? I just hate them. Anything with wings I hate. And I hate you too." After snapping at him, she storms off. At this point, Jae-wan is just left standing there, totally unable to understand why she's so incredibly hot and cold. Shortly after, to punish Mo-ni for her ghostly mind games, Jae-wan orders his staff to take down the painting that her father had cherished so much. It turns out he had noticed her standing silently in front of it the other day. He tells her that every time the culprit tries to make people remember the chairman, he will erase another trace of the man's existence. Even though Monet acts tough and says, "Whatever, I don't care," her heart is absolutely breaking. Jae-wan's move leaves Monet feeling crushed for a while. But then, she sees a promo on TV about the hotel preparing surprises and showing movies for the guests, and the fire of revenge in her heart is reignited. Next thing you know, while Jae-wan is leading some VIP guests on a tour of the hotel, a video of the late chairman's speech suddenly starts broadcasting on the giant screen. Knowing it's Moni's doing, he charges into the broadcasting room. Sure enough, there she is. In a fit of pure rage, he grabs a fire extinguisher, smashes the glass door of the room, and frantically cuts the feed. But after seeing the very end of the video, Jae-wan finally understands why she's doing this. She is convinced that her father didn't take his own life. However, he firmly tells her that her father did, and he did it right in the middle of the grand opening ceremony that Jae-wan had spent an entire year pouring his soul into. Hearing this, Monet can't hold back her tears anymore. In that moment, even Jae-wan's heart softens. She cries out, "To you, it was 1 year. But to my father, building the largest hotel in Asia was his lifelong dream. He died in such a senseless way. How? Do you expect me to believe it was?" Her words actually start to make Jae-wan second-guess everything he thought he knew. Later, during the company's regular morning meeting, Monet makes a surprise entrance that catches everyone off guard. She walks right in, bold as ever, and takes her father's old seat. Faced with her increasingly wild and ridiculous behavior, Jae-wan decides to clear out the chairman's office as a punishment. But what does Monet do? She just hops right up and lies down flat on the desk, refusing to budge. But that cold-hearted man only gives her exactly 1 hour. He tells her straight to her face. If she hasn't left by then, he'll have his people clear her out right along with the furniture. Looking at all the things her father poured his heart and soul into, Monet can't hold back the pain in her heart. She absolutely refuses to give up like this. Just as she's about to leave, she suddenly discovers something suspicious pills hidden at the very bottom of a flower pot. After doing some digging, she finds out they are antidepressants. Here's the kicker. If a healthy person takes them, they cause intense hallucinations. This discovery makes Monet 100% certain that her father's death was anything but simple. On her way out, she happens to run into Woo-hyun, who's actually on his day off. Monet doesn't care. She literally hijacks his motorcycle and takes off like a speed demon with him on the back. It turns out, she's heading to a temple to visit her late father. Only here, in front of him, can she finally drop her guard. She clutches her father's memorial tablet and sobs uncontrollably. Woo-hyun witnesses the whole heartbreaking scene and realizes that this is the real Monet. To help her clear her head, he takes it upon himself to bring her to the beach for a stroll. A few days later, Monet is walking through her family's own department store. Out of nowhere, she overhears some employees talking smack about her behind her back. But Monet is feeling generous, so she lets it slide and continues shopping. However, she quickly realizes the fashion here is totally outdated and old-fashioned. Not a single piece catches her eye. Then, she picks up a Chanel-style jacket and thinks to herself, "Oh my god, they're actually charging money for this?" The staff member bluntly tells her the price, 7.5 million won. Monet can't help but shout, "This is literal daylight robbery." Right then, a woman with the aura of a wealthy socialite walks out wearing the exact same jacket. The sales clerk immediately ditches Monet and starts sucking up to the lady, saying, "If someone doesn't have a noble elegance, they'll just look mediocre in this." Hearing that, Monet is officially speechless. She claps back immediately. Unbelievable. This outfit looks like it's from the Joseon era. Who would even want to wear this? Let me see what this person actually looks like. Seeing that Monet is speaking without any filter, the staff frantically apologizes to the guest on her behalf. This woman then picks up a whole stack of clothes, walks right up to Monet, and tells her to shut her mouth. Then, in the blink of an eye, she throws the entire pile of clothes onto the ground. At that exact moment, another employee rushes over and sees the mess. By reflex, she assumes that it was the rude Monet who threw the clothes. The other woman immediately plays the victim card, acting like she was terrified by the encounter. No matter how Monet tries to explain, nobody believes her. And just like that, a blood feud between Monet and this mystery woman is born. As it turns out, this woman is Cha Kyung-ga, legendary news anchor, the first lady of the CL group, and wait for it, Jae-wan's ex-girlfriend. When Monet sees Jae-wan arrive, she thinks she's found her literal lifesaver. But when she sees him coldly walk away with the other woman, treating Monet like she's invisible, she feels a massive sense of humiliation. Talk about bad luck follows you everywhere. She can't believe she ran into both of them so soon. Monet decides she's going to make this couple pay. She jumps on Woo-hyun's motorcycle and charges straight toward them. This time, Monet thinks she's finally caught Jae-wan red-handed. Back at the hotel, he acts like a total germaphobe clean freak. But here he is out on a date with a rich lady. She starts to feel like Jae-wan is like an onion. She has no idea how many layers of mystery she'll have to peel back to find the truth. Cha Kyung can't listen to this anymore and tries to explain, but Jae-wan cuts her off. Monet asks if they have a special relationship, and Jae-wan admits it flatly. Yes, a very special one. She is a VIP guest who has helped the CL hotel tremendously, so of course, she is special. This cold response makes Cha Kyung, who clearly still has feelings for him, feel like she's been dropped into a pit of ice. However, she still helps Jae-wan out of the awkward situation, saying, "I don't know the roads around here, so I asked him to show me the way." Just then, her driver happens to pull up at the perfect time. Monet is left completely speechless, without a single word to say back. Before leaving, that woman gives Monet a final chilling warning. She better apologize soon or else she won't let it go. It's clear this lady is absolutely no pushover. Back at the hotel, Monet is still fuming about the encounter when she suddenly hears a strange noise coming from her living room. She cautiously pokes her head out to check, thinking it's just her imagination playing tricks on her. But a split second later, she is paralyzed with fear. Her blood-curdling scream reaches Jae-wan, who's right outside the door. He immediately smashes his way inside and finds Monet trembling, cowering in the corner of the room. It's only when his eyes land on a dead bird lying on the bed that he understands why she's so terrified. And get this twisted gift was actually the work of that old snake, the vice chairman. Seeing Monet shaking like a leaf, Jae-wan is hit with a sudden flashback to his own traumatic childhood. For a man who's always been cold and heartless, he actually starts to feel a pang of pity for Monet. He walks over to her, leans down, and gently strokes her hair. With Jae-wan's voice constantly whispering, "It's okay" in her ear, Monet finally lets her tough girl walls crumble and collapses helplessly into his arms. You'd think this tender moment would be the start of something warm between them, right? Wrong. This moment actually marks the beginning of her deep hatred for him. Still in a state of pure panic, Monet suddenly snaps, jumping up and frantically hitting and kicking Jae-wan. She doesn't stop until he firmly tells her to calm down. Jae-wan then quietly cleans up the dead bird for her, promising that he'll find out who did this immediately. But Monet isn't buying it. She fires back, "There's no need, because in this entire hotel, the only person who knows I'm terrified of birds is you." Faced with her suspicion, Jae-wan has no way to prove his innocence. But before he leaves, he says one last thing. "Even if you don't believe me, I wasn't the one who did this." Shortly after, worried about Monet's safety, Jae-wan calls Woo-hyun back from his day off and puts him on babysitting duty. At this point, Woo-hyun has no idea what happened. He just assumes the heiress has caused another round of trouble. A little later, the staff comes in to change the bloody bedsheets. They can't help but gossip, whispering that this is the first time they've ever seen Monet so broken. Not knowing the truth, they even start speculating if the blood on the sheets came from her hurting herself. Later, Monet asks Woo-hyun some questions about Jae-wan. She honestly can't believe a man like him was personally recruited by her father. When Woo-hyun finishes his report and gets ready to leave, Monet suddenly stops him. She gives him a weird task: rearrange all her clothes and shoes by color. Woo-hyun's face immediately drops. She's clearly miserable. But here's the thing. Behind that seemingly ridiculous demand was Monet's deep-seated fear. She just wanted an excuse for Woo-hyun to stay with her a little longer so she wouldn't be alone. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Jae-wan is trying to drown his sorrows in alcohol. Back at the suite, Woo-hyun finally finishes the job. But when he walks out, he sees Monet has fallen fast asleep on the sofa. He considers moving her to the bed, but as he gets closer, he notices she's crying even in her sleep. Feeling a surge of sympathy, he gently covers the spoiled heiress with a blanket. In reality, he never saw her as just a rude rich girl. He saw her for what she really was, a fragile girl who just lost her father. Just as he's about to leave, he hears Monet whisper, "Don't go." But it turns out she wasn't talking to him. Seeing her so desperately missing her father even in her dreams makes Woo-hyun's heart ache. From that very moment, he develops a fierce protective instinct over her. The next day, Monet is back to her usual arrogant self. As fate would have it, she runs into Jae-wan and that mystery woman together again. A light bulb goes off in her head, and she comes up with a plan for some petty revenge. She intentionally lets go of a leash in her hand, and in an instant, the entire hotel is thrown into absolute chaos. She feigns a fake apology, saying her friends are just a little rowdy and that it wasn't her intention. Then, with a smirk, she asks, "But surely the general manager will forgive me, right?" To Monet's absolute surprise, Jae-wan actually says he can forgive her little stunt, but he leaves her with a stinging reality check. Just remember, this hotel was the chairman's life's work. Now look at the mess you've turned it into. Staring at the chaos she created, Monet is left speechless. She knows deep down that this time she really crossed the line. But don't think for a second she's given up on her revenge against Jae-wan. Shortly after, she disguises herself as a new housekeeper and sneaks into Jae-wan's private room. While snooping around, she hits the motherlode, files he's been using to investigate her, and even more shocking, her father's watch, the one he wore every single day. She remembers asking Jae-wan before if the watch was among her father's belongings, and he had looked her in the eye and lied, saying he'd never seen it. Now that she has the evidence in her hands, what's his excuse? Monet is now convinced that Jae-wan is directly linked to her father's death. Fuming with rage, she ignores Manager Baek's attempts to stop her and storms off to settle the score. At that moment, Jae-wan is right in the middle of a high-stakes business meeting. Monet crashes the room and screams in front of everyone, "What did you do to my father?" Jae-wan tries to play it cool and tells her to take it outside, but Monet isn't having it. She grabs a glass of red wine and splashes it right over his head. Because of her outburst, Jae-wan's massive deal completely falls through. She demands to know who he really is, and his response? He claims the watch was a gift from the chairman. Monet doesn't buy that lie for a second. Why would her father give a family heirloom, his own father's watch, to a scumbag like him? To her, the answer is clear. Jae-wan is the one who destroyed her father. After Jae-wan leaves, Monet is shaking with anger, and the trauma of her father's death comes rushing back. As the crowd thins out, she finds herself drawn to the pool, the very spot where her father's cold body was found. She's in a daze, lost in her grief, when suddenly, a man's hand appears and shoves her deep into the water. She struggles, but quickly loses consciousness. At that exact moment, Woo-hyun sees Jae-wan walking away from the pool area. He remembers seeing Jae-wan lead the heiress in that direction while he was angry. And now he's returning alone? Fearing the worst, Woo-hyun sprints to the pool and finds Mo-nee floating motionless. He drags her out and frantically performs CPR. Thanks to his quick thinking, Mo-nee is brought back from the brink of death. But before she can say a word about what happened, she faints again. Later, Woo-hyun tells Jae-wan about the drowning. Although Jae-wan acts like a stone-cold statue and pretends he has nothing to do with it, his mind immediately jumps to the real culprit, the old vice chairman. For the first time, he storms into the man's house to confront him. It's revealed that for years, Jae-wan has been living as a puppet under this man's thumb. Jae-wan then goes to Monet's room, but she can't even stand the sight of him. Even so, he gives her a cryptic warning. Go back to where you came from. No matter how hard you try, you won't find anything here. This finally gets a reaction out of her. She snaps back. All you want is to become the chairman of this hotel. It's a tragic irony these two are fighting each other to the death, not realizing they've both been pawns in someone else's game for a long time. To cheer Monet up, Woo-hyun tries to tell her funny stories, but she's completely unresponsive. Unable to see her suffer anymore, he decides to share a secret about her father. He takes her to a hidden place called Monet's garden. It turns out her father had been personally planting and nurturing this garden just for her, planning to give it to her as a gift once the flowers bloomed. Sadly, he didn't live to see that day. Meanwhile, in another part of the hotel, Jae-wan manages to use his own ruthless methods to finally sign that big partnership deal. But just as Woo-hyun is bringing food to Monet, he stumbles upon a piece of security footage that changes everything. The video clearly shows a man who looks exactly like Jae-wan, pushing Monet into the pool to drown. In a fit of pure rage, Woo-hyun decides right then and there to go settle the score with Jae-wan. Little did he know, Jae-wan was right in the middle of a major company-wide meeting to celebrate his newly signed contract. Just as Jae-wan was about to use this golden opportunity to reveal his true identity, Woo-hyun suddenly stormed the stage right in front of everyone. Can you believe it? A low-level employee actually had the nerve to grab the general manager by the collar in front of the entire crowd. Seeing things spiral out of control, colleagues rush up to pull Woo-hyun away. Jae-wan, fuming with anger, asks him through gritted teeth if he even realizes where he is. But Woo-hyun fires back that he knows exactly what's going on. I know exactly what you did to the heiress. Just as Woo-hyun was about to spill the beans and reveal the truth, Monet suddenly appears and cuts him off. But Woo-hyun can't help himself. He blurts out that Jae-wan was the one who pushed her into the water. To everyone's shock, Monet doesn't take his side. Instead, she helps Jae-wan out of the jam, claiming she just carelessly slipped into the pool. In an instant, Woo-hyun's heroic attempt to do the right thing makes him look like an unhinged, crazy person. He's left standing there, completely baffled as to why she would do this. Later, Monet chases after Jae-wan, begging him not to fire Woo-hyun. She tells him, "Look, it's true that I told him I thought someone pushed me. But none of that matters anymore. Because just like you said, I'm terrified. I admit defeat. I'm leaving." While Monet is away, the hotel continues to run like clockwork. When the hotel wins a prestigious award, Jae-wan decides to throw a massive party, planning to finally announce his true identity then. But he never could have guessed that Monet would make a spectacular re-entry, returning to the hotel in a breathtaking comeback as the true owner. The war for revenge officially starts right here. Monet had played a clever game of retreating to advance, and her return catches both the vice chairman and Jae-wan completely off guard. As she walks confidently among the VIP guests, her every gesture and aura are the polar opposite of her previous reckless, bratty self. It turns out, this massive transformation was all thanks to Manager Baek, who had been pulling the strings and guiding her from the shadows. When their eyes meet, Jae-wan immediately senses something is up. He confronts Manager Baek, asking if she's the one behind Monet's sudden change. But Baek doesn't admit to anything, simply stating that Monet has always been the chairman's favorite child. Nothing has changed, so it's only natural she looks the part now. That phrase, the chairman's favorite child, hits Jae-wan like a dagger to the heart. If she's the favorite, then what does that make him? An unacknowledged son, abandoned since childhood? Blinded by hate and resentment, Jae-wan decides to seize the moment to reveal who he really is. But before he can get a word out, Monet cuts him off again. She tells the crowd she wants to officially greet everyone. Given her status, Jae-wan has no choice but to let her speak. But the greeting he expected was actually a bombshell. Monet declares she is officially taking over the hotel as a candidate for the position of representative general manager. Not only that, she boldly tells the entire room that her father did not commit suicide. The whole hall goes into a state of total shock. Once again, Jae-wan's plan to reveal his identity goes up in smoke. Afterward, he storms into Monet's room, demanding to know what's going on with those pills she found. Even though Monet explains they were found in her father's office pills that should never be taken together, and the fact that her father never even had depression, Jae-wan refuses to believe her. Monet wipes away her tears and shows Jae-wan the security footage. This leaves him absolutely shaken. He finally understands why Woo-hyun accused him of pushing Monet into the pool. The person in the video looks just like him, but it wasn't him. It was all a twisted setup by that old snake, the vice chairman. But even faced with Moni's accusations, Jae-wan doesn't defend himself. He just stands there as she vows to expose the truth and drag him to court. After cooling his head, Jae-wan starts replaying Moni's words in his mind, and honestly, he's starting to waver. He remembers that those suspicious pills were all prescribed by a man named Yoon, a close friend of the late chairman. He decides to track Yoon down for some answers, only to be told the man is supposedly away on a business trip abroad. But get this, as Jae-wan is heading home after work, he catches Yoon frantically scurrying out of the vice chairman's house. He immediately tails him and discovers the doctor isn't abroad at all. He's hiding out in a tiny run-down motel. This sends Jae-wan's suspicions into overdrive. He bangs on the door, pretending to be there on the vice chairman's orders. Under the pressure of his interrogation, the ugly truth finally comes out. It turns out, the vice chairman was the one who ordered the prescriptions. Jae-wan is furious and ready to hand Yoon over to the cops, but then comes the absolute kicker. Yoon was just a pawn. The person who had been unknowingly hand-delivering those toxic pills to the chairman all along was Jae-wan himself. At that moment, Jae-wan's world completely shatters. He realizes that both he and Yoon have been nothing but puppets in the vice chairman's sick game. That old man made Jae-wan help kill his own father, all while playing the part of a kind uncle. Pure, unadulterated hatred begins to boil inside Jae-wan. Lost in a daze, he wanders into Monet's garden. There, he finds Moni talking to the flowers, her words overflowing with how much she desperately misses her dad. When she turns around and sees him standing right behind her, she's startled and demands to know why he's there. Faced with her disgust and suspicion, Jae-wan doesn't say a word. He just stares at her with eyes full of profound sadness. Just as she's about to walk away, he does the unthinkable. He reaches out and pulls her into a sudden, tight hug. Fast forward to Moni's first official day as the hotel's boss, and let's just say her outfit choice is bold. As the general manager, Jae-wan can't even bring himself to look at her. And it's not just him. The moment she hops out of the car, the other directors are left absolutely speechless by her appearance. Now, these two enemies are forced to work together. Using her status as the heiress, Monet orders Jae-wan to give her a personal tour so she can get to know the hotel. With no other choice, the cold general manager silently accepts. He leads her into the busy kitchen. But when a chef tosses a pan and a massive flame flares up, Monet is scared half to death. She panics and bolts for the back door, but gets lost. That's when she runs into a young guy who's busy cleaning. She tries to pull rank, introducing herself as Chairman Moni and demanding the way out. But the guy acts like she's invisible, totally focused on his work and not caring at all about her title. It's only when he backs her all the way to the exit that she realizes he was actually pointing the way. Moni can't help but mutter how annoying, under her breath. When she steps outside, Jae-wan is already waiting for her to continue the tour. Looking at his know-it-all attitude, Monet is just itching to give him a piece of her mind. But suddenly, she realizes her bracelet is gone. It was a graduation gift from her father, her most prized possession. She immediately assumes that the cleaning boy from the kitchen stole it. Without a second thought, she sprints back. When the boy sees her coming, he takes off running, which in Moni's mind is a total admission of guilt. "You're dead meat this time," she shouts, chasing him down until she corners him. She demands he hand over the bracelet, but the guy is completely clueless. Jae-wan arrives on the scene as the boy insists he's not a thief and has never seen the bracelet. No matter what he says, Monet refuses to believe him. Because of her accusation, the boy is taken away to be interrogated. But seeing the look on his face, Moni starts to feel a pang of regret. She's worried he might get beaten up. Jae-wan, ever the realist, hits her with a heavy line. If you're wrong about him, that false suspicion will hurt him way more than a few dozen beatings ever could. As it turns out, Jae-wan was 100% right. Monet had totally accused the wrong person. When she turns around, she sees her bracelet on the wrist of a girl who seems to be struggling with her mental health. Thanks to Woo-hyun stepping in and trading a fresh lollipop for it, Monet finally gets her precious bracelet back. Curious about the girl's odd behavior, Monet asks around and discovers a tragic story. She's actually the daughter of a wealthy tycoon family, but a car accident when she was a child left her with permanent brain damage. By this point, the boy Monet originally accused had already been fired. The reason? 3 years ago, he was involved in the death of a classmate and spent 7 months in a juvenile detention center. Consumed by guilt, Monet rushes to find him, arriving just as he's being chased away by a manager. She steps in immediately, cancels the firing, and tells him he's staying. But Jae-wan protests, saying, "We can't have a murderer working here." Those words completely shatter the boy. He screams at the top of his lungs, "I'm not a murderer! That guy wasn't even human! He deserved to die!" Seeing the boy's raw pain makes Jae-wan flash back to his own childhood. Those were the exact same words he used to say. He knows better than anyone how soul-crushing it is to live with the killer label. Even so, he coldly fires the boy again, telling him it's for his own good to leave. But Moni goes rogue and hires him back personally. She has no idea that this kind act is about to push her into a much deeper pit of misery. Soon, the news that the boy is a killer spreads like wildfire through the hotel. No one dares to go near him. Feeling responsible, Moni tries to sit with him, but even the boy and the rest of the staff avoid her like she has the plague. Only Woo-hyun stays by her side, quietly protecting her. As Monet is leaving the restaurant, she sees Jae-wan rushing off. It turns out the boy just got into a heated confrontation with his co-workers. The world's prejudice has finally pushed him to the edge. He cries out, "What did I do wrong? I'm not dirty. I'm not a bad person. Why is everyone avoiding me?" Jae-wan grabs the boy by the shirt and tells Monet bluntly, "Right now, your presence is scarier to people than a contagious disease. Madam Chairman, if you don't want to see this kid suffer anymore, decide right now, fire him." Looking at the boy's absolute agony, Monet's heart breaks. She realizes it's all her fault. That night, the boy sneaks into the kitchen planning to set the place on fire. But Monet catches him red-handed. She sincerely apologizes and begs him not to do something so foolish. Realizing he doesn't actually want revenge, he just wants the pain to stop. Just as the boy begins to waver, a mysterious man in black suddenly appears out of the shadows and lights the fire himself. Meanwhile, Jae-wan wakes up to find his ex-girlfriend Cha-kyung right in front of him. You have to admit, with a face as handsome as his, it's hard for her not to feel something. He knows she still loves him. She even followed him all the way to this hotel. But the current Jae-wan wants zero involvement with her and keeps his attitude cold as ice. Suddenly, a phone call cuts them short. He gets the terrifying news that Monet is trapped in a massive fire. Elsewhere, when Woo-hyun hears the news, he doesn't hesitate for a single second. He dumps a bucket of cold water over himself, soaking his clothes to the bone, and charges into the inferno despite everyone trying to hold him back. Jae-wan arrives on the scene moments later, desperately trying to jump into the flames, but the staff keeps him back. Then, it clicks, she remembers the kitchen has a back door. Inside the burning kitchen, Woo-hyun finally finds Monet. She's barely clinging to life, but even in her weakened state, she's still trying to save that boy. Using every bit of strength he has left, Woo-hyun drags them both to a spot where the fire isn't as intense. Just as they're about to be overwhelmed by the smoke, Jae-wan finally smashes through the back door. Cha-kyung tries to stop him, warning him that he could literally die in those flames. But Jae-wan's response is a total gut punch. "I don't care. Because Monet, she has to be saved." The moment those words leave his mouth, Cha-kyung's heart is completely shattered. She has no idea when Monet started becoming so important to him. Inside the inferno, looking at Monet lying unconscious on the ground, Jae-wan is filled with agonizing pain. Suddenly, a massive shelf right next to them starts to collapse. Woo-hyun immediately dives to shield Monet, but it's Jae-wan who uses his own body to block the burning hot shelf. He tells Woo-hyun to get Monet out of there fast and orders him to never mention that he or the arsonist boy were there. At that moment, it's clear Jae-wan is ready to die in that fire. But looking at the boy on the floor, all he can see is a reflection of his own tragic childhood. Later, Cha-kyung insists on treating his burns, but the second her hand touches him, Jae-wan brushes her off. Unable to let it go, Cha-kyung finally asks the question that's been eating at her. "When you charged into that fire, you looked like you'd rather die with her than fail to save her. In that moment, the hotel didn't matter to you, only Monet did. I want to know, why did you risk your life for her?" But seeing Jae-wan's hesitation, she can't bring herself to hear the answer, because she thinks she already knows what it is. However, the truth is actually nothing like what she imagines. Soon after, Monet finally wakes up. When Woo-hyun sees her putting a flower in her hair, he actually thinks she's gone crazy. But in reality, she's being driven crazy by her situation. Every move she makes is being monitored by Woo-hyun, and he won't even let her contact the outside world. All of this was actually arranged by Jae-wan to keep her safe. Woo-hyun is totally conflicted. In one hand, this is the general manager who supposedly pushed her into a pool, but on the other, he's the man who braved a deadly fire to save her. He truly doesn't know which version of Jae-wan is the real one. Since Jae-wan told him to keep the secret, Woo-hyun has naturally become the hero who saved Monet from the fire, but the lie is weighing heavily on his conscience. In a place Monet knows nothing about, Jae-wan tracks down the arsonist boy and catches him in the act of being bribed by someone. He gives the boy a 72-hour ultimatum: reveal the mastermind, or face a lawsuit for attempted murder. Even though she's cut off from the world, Monet eventually sees the news about the hotel's crisis. She hijacks Woo-hyun's motorcycle and drifts all the way back to the hotel. She arrives just in time. The board of directors was right in the middle of trying to fire her as chairman. Fortunately, Monet makes a grand entrance and flips the script. When she finds out that Jae-wan was the one secretly stopping the press from escalating the scandal, and hears from the staff that he is a man who truly cares about the hotel, she starts to reevaluate everything. She notices their shoes are different, which means the person who pushed her into the pool definitely wasn't Jae-wan. So, who was it? She also remembers there was a third person in the kitchen the night of the fire. To find the truth, Monet has Woo-hyun take her to see the boy. On the way, Woo-hyun is about to tell her that Jae-wan was the one who saved her, but Monet cuts him off. It's only when they meet the boy and he treats Monet like absolute garbage that Woo-hyun can't hold it in anymore. He finally blurts out the truth. Jae-wan was the real hero. At that moment, Monet is stunned to learn that Jae-wan was the one who truly saved her life. That night, while Jae-wan is in the shower, a man in black is seen rummaging through his house looking for something. However, the intruder fails and has to bolt. In his hurry to escape, he leaves the front door wide open. Right at that second, Woo-hyun drops Monet off at Jae-wan's doorstep. He knows she definitely wants to say thank you. Monet is feeling super shy and awkward. But as the chairman, she feels she has to stay professional and polite. And in that moment, she suddenly remembers the night she was hospitalized. In her hazy, semi-conscious state, she realizes she hadn't just dreamed it, she really did see Jae-wan holding her hand, as it trembled with fear. At first, Moni thought that memory was just a terrifying nightmare, but it turns out it was the cold, hard truth. She gathers every bit of her courage to open Jae-wan's door, and what she sees inside absolutely haunts her. Seeing the man she used to despise covered in fresh wounds and layers of old scars he got while protecting her, Monet can't help but break down in tears of pure pity. Jae-wan finally notices her standing there and is completely caught off guard. Honestly, she just wanted to come by and apologize. When he hears her apology, Jae-wan finally turns to face her, but the first thing out of his mouth is an order to get out. Monet panics, feeling like she walked in at the worst possible time. In a situation like this, leaving is probably for the best. But before she goes, Jae-wan gives her a chilling instruction. Act like you were never here, and like you saw absolutely nothing. Moni doesn't say a word and leaves with a heavy heart. Who would have thought that a man who usually acts so cold and heartless could be hiding a side like this? This is clearly the one pain Jae-wan wants to keep hidden from the world more than anything. He didn't even let his ex-girlfriend see it. And yet, today, Moni saw everything. Back in his bedroom, Jae-wan realizes his things have been ransacked. But luckily, his secret files were left undiscovered. In another part of the hotel, Moni's curiosity about Jae-wan starts to spiral. She can't help but go down a rabbit hole of Googling him, only to discover he was adopted. She wonders, wait, were those scars on his body from being beaten by his adoptive parents? Learning about his past breaks her heart. She realizes that because he never felt love as a child, he grew up without knowing how to love others. She starts to feel that Jae-wan is actually more tragic than she is. Little does she know, this pity is the first step toward falling in love. Suddenly, she remembers Manager Baek's advice. Use Jae-wan's talent. The staff also talks about how he's a general manager who lives and breathes for the hotel. Right then, a light bulb goes off in Moni's head. The next morning, while Jae-wan is trying to enjoy a peaceful moment, Moni's voice suddenly rings out right next to him. It turns out, this was the decision she made last night. Because she demanded a room change in the middle of the night, the staff were worked to the bone and started talking smack behind her back. They even went as far as saying her body wasn't as hot as people imagined. Of course, Moni overhears every single word. She confronts them, basically saying, "You can talk about my bad personality, but don't you dare come for my figure." Shortly after, Moni changes her outfit and pops up at Jae-wan's doorstep, trying to stage a coincidental meeting. She starts following him like a shadow. No matter how much she talks his ear off, Jae-wan ignores her. But the real reason she's stalking him is that she wants to become his apprentice and have him teach her how to run the hotel. As expected, he shoots her down with a cold rejection. But that doesn't stop Moni. Even when they get to the hotel, she's right on his heels. When he sees her casually greeting the staff, Jae-wan corrects her. The previous chairman bowed to employees to show them respect. Hearing that, Monet actually becomes humble and follows his lead. On their way out, Jae-wan runs into Cha-kyung moving some boxes and steps in to help her. But Monet sees the whole thing and, looking a bit jealous, jumps in to stop him. She makes up an emergency excuse to pull him away. Cha-kyung doesn't want to make things awkward for Jae-wan, so she tells him he can go ahead. Seeing Moni's hilarious behavior, Cha-kyung actually finds her kind of adorable. She teases him, saying, "To a woman, a Prince Charming is a dream. How are you going to take responsibility for this?" Jae-wan doesn't give Cha-kyung an answer. Instead, he walks straight to Moni's side and takes the heavy load from her. He thinks his feelings for her are just sibling-like protection, but in the eyes of the women around him, it's clearly something more. Meanwhile, the arsonist boy returns to the hotel once again. Someone else has already taken his old job. Looking at the name tag in his hand, he remembers Moni's words. Her genuine sincerity has officially started to move his heart. On his way back, the boy runs into Jae-wan again. The 72-hour deadline hasn't even hit yet. Jae-wan asks him, "Decided already?" And the boy tries to play it cool, saying he's just passing through. But when Jae-wan sees that name tag still clutched in the boy's hand, he knows the kid is still deeply attached to the hotel. Using a mix of encouragement and a stern warning, Jae-wan tells him to stand tall and live a life he can be proud of, using his real name. These words finally get through to the boy, and he spills the truth about the arson. It turns out, on the day he was fired, he was in a dark place. Someone with a hidden agenda took advantage of his anger and handed him the kitchen keys. But the person who actually lit the fire? It was none other than the uncle Mo-ni trusted most, Yoon. Meanwhile, Mo-ni, who was completely oblivious to all of this, suddenly receives a painting. It's a piece her father commissioned 3 months ago, but the date on it is just 1 day before he passed away. Mo-ni suspects the artist might know something. Little does she know that the evil vice chairman is the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. Yoon thought the vice chairman would protect him as promised, but instead, the old man completely stabs him in the back, handing evidence of Yoon's illegal embezzlement of hotel assets straight to the police. Betrayed by the uncle she trusted most, Mo-ni feels a deep sense of powerlessness for the first time. Everyone says she's just a puppet chairman, and she's starting to realize they might be right. When she wanders back to her office in a daze, the room has already been scrubbed clean. She doesn't even see the ribbon her father left. It had already been snatched up by someone with a hidden agenda. After Moni's betrayal by her uncle, Jae-wan asks a female staff member about her. He learns that whenever Monet is upset, she has 2 coping mechanisms. She either binges on sweets or does voice overdubbing for cartoons. She pretends the villains are the people she hates and loves watching them get defeated, the staff member tells him. A few days ago, all the villains were named after the general manager. Hearing this, a rare smile actually breaks across Jae-wan's face. He thinks to himself, She's such a child. At that very moment, Monet is playing hero versus villain with Yoon as the bad guy, and herself as the hero taking him down. Just then, Woo-hyun suddenly appears behind her with a sweet surprise, her favorite cake. Luckily, whenever Monet is down, Woo-hyun is there to quietly stay by her side, play along with her, and cheer her up. But what Monet doesn't know is that Jae-wan was also worried about her. He actually bought her a cake too, but he just couldn't bring himself to give it to her. The next day, Moni gets to the hotel and finds her father's cherished painting has been hung back up. This was Jae-wan's doing. She can't figure out why this cold man is suddenly having such a change of heart. Then, a new guest and his young son arrive, and this becomes the catalyst that makes things between Monet and Jae-wan heat up fast. The father collapses in the shower and falls into a coma. Jae-wan rushes to the scene and performs emergency first aid until the paramedics arrive. Meanwhile, Monet takes on the responsibility of looking after the man's son. The moment Monet shows up, the boy assumes his dad hired a nanny. Monet doesn't have the heart to tell him the truth, so she goes along with it, using her nanny persona to stay by his side. Shortly after, Jae-wan rings the doorbell. Monet worriedly asks about the boy's father. The kid, however, tells them he's not happy with any of the hotel staff. Monet tries to volunteer herself, but the kid shuts her down on the spot. "I can't sleep in the same room as a woman." After much thought, the boy was still most pleased with CEO Jae-wan. "I want to sleep with the CEO." As soon as he said this, Jae-wan froze. He had intended to use the excuse of working late to refuse, but unexpectedly, Monet suggested he sleep over at his house that night, even mentioning that his house had lots of toys. The two of them, regardless of the victim's fate, happily made their decision. Soon after, the boy was at Jae-wan's house. Believe it or not, Jae-wan's place is a literal toy store, just like Monet said. But there's a catch. Every time the kid tries to even lay a finger on a toy, Jae-wan is right there to block him. Can you believe this hotel monster, who's usually afraid of nothing, is actually terrified of a little kid? After being shut down over and over, the boy starts to get annoyed. That's when he sets his sights on a robot sitting on the bookshelf. Jae-wan immediately jumps in front of it like a human shield. He tries to distract the kid by offering to have the staff bring over a gaming console, but the boy isn't having it and tells him to move. Jae-wan looks totally stressed, but he can't exactly say no to a guest. He's forced to stand there and watch in agony as the boy grabs his most prized possession. But it turns out, the person he should be worried about isn't the boy, it's Monet. The second the kid hears Monet's voice, he drops the toy and runs to her. And just like that, the robot Jae-wan worked so hard to protect is smashed to pieces by Monet. Looking at his heartbroken face, Monet still has no clue what's going on. As time passes, Monet shows no signs of leaving. She even teases him, saying this hotel monster actually has a major case of Peter Pan syndrome. Suddenly, the boy notices that all the robots have been moved to the top shelves. Monet immediately guesses that Jae-wan put them there because he was afraid the kid would mess with them. Jae-wan tries to play it cool with the lamest excuse ever. "When it's time to sleep, I put them up there. The robots are all sleeping now." Monet laughs it off and distracts the boy with a new game. Jae-wan tries to get him to go to bed, but the kid has a better idea. He wants the general manager to be his horse. And just like that, the powerful CEO is forced to crawl around on all fours for his tiny client. Honestly, it's hilarious. Jae-wan has zero clue how to entertain a child, so he just crawls stiffly around the living room. The kid gets bored almost instantly. Monet, watching from the sidelines, can't stop laughing and calls him a sick horse, saying a real horse needs to jump around and eat to be interesting. She even picks up a small pebble and starts teasing him with it. Surrounded by the happy laughter of Monet and the boy, Jae-wan finally starts to relax. Who would have thought this cold-hearted man had a side like this? For the first time, Monet's presence brings actual warmth to his icy home. This happy, harmonious scene looks exactly like a family of three. Of course, a female staff member happens to walk in and catch them. Jae-wan awkwardly tries to explain, "I'm just meeting a guest's request." Later that night, he lets Monet rest her head on his lap. After some time, Monet wakes up next to him and notices the wounds on his hand. A wave of pity washes over her. She remembers how, when she was terrified, he used that same hand to comfort her and whisper, "It's okay." Now she mimics him, whispering "it's okay" to him over and over again. Jae-wan hears every word. To a broken man like him, Monet's presence is officially becoming the light that saves him. Before the boy leaves the next day, Jae-wan actually gives him his favorite robot as a gift, telling him to be like the robot, never be afraid, no matter what challenges he faces. This gesture finally makes Monet realize that, deep down, Jae-wan is a good man. As Monet walks away, Jae-wan can't help but think back to last night. Without even realizing it, their hearts have started to pull closer. Meanwhile, the cleaning crew arrives at Jae-wan's place, and they are absolutely stunned. They've never seen his bedroom this messy, but that's not all. They find women's clothes and long strands of hair. They are now 100% convinced that the hotel monster has finally fallen in love. While the gossip is flying, our two leads have no idea. Back at the hotel, Jae-wan crosses paths with a strange new waiter. The man's unique perfume leaves a deep impression on him. Later, when he sees the same guy lurking suspiciously around Monet, Jae-wan's alarm bells start ringing. Monet, however, is still completely oblivious to the danger. Monet is absolutely over the moon when she finds a folder that Jae-wan marked for her with a cute little heart. Later that night, Jae-wan heads out for a rare night of drinks with his subordinates, but his sharp instincts immediately tell him they're being watched. He spots a mysterious figure following them, but unfortunately, the guy manages to slip away. However, that familiar, unique scent lingers in the air. Just as he's about to chase after the man in black, he gets a terrifying video on his phone and it's a clip of Monet. Realizing she's in danger, Jae-wan sprints back home. When he reaches Monet's door, a massive explosion rings out from inside. Panic sets in, but thankfully it was just a false alarm. It turns out Monet, who clearly has zero skills in the kitchen, just blew up her microwave. As they're cleaning up the mess together, their index fingers accidentally touch. Monet's heart starts racing like a wildfire, and she panics and runs away. Still feeling uneasy, she begs Jae-wan to stay with her for a bit, and to her surprise, the hotel monster actually listens. Not only does he stay, but he rolls up his sleeves and cooks a warm bowl of soup for her. Just as Woo-hyun arrives to drop off a late-night snack for Monet, he catches Jae-wan lingering at her door as he's leaving. This hits Woo-hyun right in the gut. In reality, besides Jae-wan making her dinner, nothing scandalous happened between them, but let's be real, the atmosphere was getting pretty steamy. After serving her a delicious meal, Jae-wan says he's going to send a female staff member over to stay with her so he can leave. But Monet drops a bombshell. She doesn't trust anyone else. "I want you to be the one to protect me, just like right now." Her words once again pierce through Jae-wan's icy heart. Even so, he acts cold and walks away. Woo-hyun watches from a distance, seeing the lingering tension between them. But here's the kicker. Monet has no idea that Jae-wan didn't actually leave. He sat in the yard and silently protected her for the entire night, only heading out when it was time for work. By the next day, rumors of their romance are spreading through the hotel like crazy. To try to bond with the staff, Moni goes to the employee cafeteria to serve lunch. But her girl of the people act backfires. The employees are so intimidated by the chairman serving them that they're too scared to even show up. Everyone expects Jae-wan to shut her down, but this time, he totally spoils her and lets her do whatever she wants. Suddenly, he spots that suspicious waiter lurking around Monet again. Every time the guy sees Jae-wan, he ducks away guiltily. Jae-wan starts to give chase, but he's intercepted by manager Baek, who reminds him it's time to head to Cha-kyung's restaurant grand opening. At the event, Moni makes sure to mark her territory in front of Cha-kyung before heading out. When Jae-wan catches up to her, he sees the vice chairman inviting Monet to sit with him, but she shuts the old man down flat. Jae-wan is convinced the vice chairman is the one orchestrating the attacks on Monet. Suddenly, Jae-wan gets a call from an unknown number, but when he steps out to answer, they hang up. He instantly panics and starts searching for Monet everywhere. When he finally sees her safe and sound, he breathes a sigh of relief, but a second later, his heart is in his throat. He sees that the creepy waiter sits stealthily following Monet. He tries to rush to her side, but the crowd is blocking his way. Seeing the man reach into his pocket for something, Jae-wan loses it. He charges forward, shoves the guy aside, and pulls Monet into a fierce, protective hug. Just like that, they become the absolute center of attention for the entire room. Ignoring everyone, Jae-wan frantically searches the waiter's pockets. But what does he find? Just a handkerchief. The waiter stammers that he was just nervous and wanted to wipe his sweat. With that, Jae-wan's impulsive move backfires. His aggressive behavior is now the talk of the town and is guaranteed to be headline news tomorrow. But more importantly, his true feelings for Monet have just been exposed for the whole world to see. Believe it or not, the real person pulling the strings behind all this isn't the vice chairman, it's actually manager Baek. That night, when Jae-wan returns home, he finds the vice chairman waiting for him, ready to mock him. The old man sneers at him, saying it's quite a talent to get caught up in a dating scandal with his own sister. He wonders aloud how Monet would feel if she found out the man she's falling for is actually her own brother. The shock would be soul-crushing. The vice chairman decides it's time to have a clear talk with Monet. Remembering how Monet told him she trusted him, Jae-wan can't bear to let her find out the truth. He blocks the old man's path and takes all the blame on himself. But his moment of vulnerability only earns him a brutal, heartless beating from that scumbag. And guess what? Monet sees the whole thing. Watching the man who risked his life twice to save her get beaten like an animal, Monet is paralyzed with shock and can't stop the tears of pity from falling. Her instincts tell her that with the amount of scars on his body, this definitely isn't the first time. For Jae-wan, he's been used to this for a long time. Ever since he was adopted by the vice chairman, beatings have been his daily bread. Because the old man has leverage over him, the fact that Jae-wan once killed someone, he can never escape the man's control. He's powerless, unable to even protect Monet. After the beating, Jae-wan acts as if nothing happened. He sits down to watch a movie he's probably seen 1,000 times. It seems like on every night he's been hurt, this is his only escape. Suddenly, Monet knocks on his door. Seeing everything in the room looking perfectly normal, Monet's heart aches for him. She knows that with a man who always pretends he's fine and never says a word, the only thing she can do is hide her own emotions so he won't catch on. Monet also plays along, pretending she knows nothing. She brings him a hot dinner, lying that she just doesn't want to owe anyone a favor. Unable to turn down her kindness, Jae-wan takes a bite, but his face remains a total mask, showing zero emotion. Monet, thinking he's still silently hurting from the beating, asks, "Are you okay?" But she immediately realizes she slipped up and quickly changes the subject, asking how the food tastes. She brags that it's her first time cooking and boasts about having a natural talent for it. Jae-wan doesn't answer. Instead, he personally holds up a spoonful for her to taste. Monet shyly says she wasn't asking for a bite, but under his persistence, she takes a taste. A split second later, she spits it right out. Not only is it insanely salty, but there are even eggshells in it. She wonders if Jae-wan has even lost his sense of taste. But here's the heartbreaking part. Despite the food being terrible, he doesn't stop. He eats every last bite. In his shattered, lonely life, Monet is the first person to ever give him genuine warmth. So, no matter how hard the food is to swallow, he finishes it. But he can't bring himself to say any cheesy words of thanks. He just coldly says he's done and tells her to leave. Seeing how stingy he is with his feelings, Monet immediately loses interest and heads out. Just as Monet is leaving his room, Jae-wan's ex, Cha-kyung, arrives. Seeing Monet coming out of his place in the middle of the night hits her like a ton of bricks. Monet is also clearly annoyed, telling Cha-kyung that if they have business, they should stick to doing it during the day. But Jae-wan ignores Monet and leads Cha-kyung away. Cha-kyung sees right through Monet's jealous act. She knows Monet's feelings for Jae-wan have turned into real love. Jae-wan doesn't want to hear it. He just wants to know why she's there. Cha-kyung gets straight to the point. She says she can help him take over the CL Hotel. But after seeing him risk his life twice for Monet, she has one burning question. What do you really want, Jae-wan? Is it the hotel, or is it Monet? Jae-wan is spiraling. He can't stop thinking about what that scumbag vice chairman said that Monet, without even knowing it, might develop special feelings for him. And now Cha-kyung has confirmed it. Monet is actually in love with him. In this moment, Jae-wan is completely lost. He's terrified. What if she actually falls for her own brother? To stop this forbidden disaster before it starts, he decides the only way out is to push her away as hard as he can. Monet is totally blindsided. She can't understand why the man who was just sharing a meal with her has suddenly turned cold as ice. She was even planning to give him a tube of ointment for his wounds, but now she can't even bring herself to take it out of her pocket. Things go from bad to worse when the photo of Jae-wan hugging Monet goes viral. It's trending everywhere. While Monet thinks the reporters are just making a mountain out of a molehill, Jae-wan is absolutely livid. Monet's feelings are hurt. She wonders, is dating me really something to be that angry about? But Jae-wan has a much bigger problem than just a dating scandal. An uninvited guest has just arrived at the hotel. It's a senior colleague from his days working in America. The second Jae-wan sees him, a wave of pure dread washes over him. He's forced to remember a dark secret from 2 years ago. While working in the US, he met Monet's father, Chairman An. Back then, Jae-wan had actually tried to poison the man by serving him food he was allergic to. But the chairman was sharp. He saw through Jae-wan's tricks immediately. Carrying this dark secret makes it impossible for Jae-wan to face Monet, who trusts him completely. He keeps trying to brainwash himself, muttering, "I told her not to trust me. I warned her." Meanwhile, Monet has another showdown with Cha-kyung. She demands to know the truth about Cha-kyung and Jae-wan's relationship. Cha-kyung gives her a reality check. Go deal with that dating scandal first. Don't let Jae-wan's reputation be dragged through the mud because of you. Once that's handled, I'll tell you everything. But Monet's solution to the dating rumor is something no one expected. She decides to just make the rumor true. She basically confesses her feelings, only to be hit with a brutal, flat-out rejection from Jae-wan. His coldness is like a dagger to her heart. She snaps back, "You don't like me? Fine, I hate you too." But she's lying to herself. One minute she's furious, the next she's completely lovesick. Jae-wan is living rent-free in her head, and no matter how hard she tries to evict him, she can't stop these schoolgirl butterflies. She ends up calling him, but the moment the call connects, a blood-curdling scream erupts from her end of the line. Thinking she's in grave danger, Jae-wan sprints to her house. But when he gets there, she's just trying to swat a mosquito. Jae-wan is speechless and turns to walk away, feeling totally played. Monet chases him down, saying, "It took you exactly 51 seconds to get here. You say you hate me from head to toe, but isn't that a bit fast for someone you despise?" She asks him why he's avoiding Harris. He's just afraid of what people will think. That's when Jae-wan drops a nuclear bomb on her heart. He tells her his kindness was strictly out of guilt toward her late father. Then he says, "And I hate Monet. Even if you were the last woman on earth, I wouldn't want you." Those words cut Monet to the core. He can walk away unfazed, but what about her? She's already in way too deep. Now, just looking at him makes her heart ache. Just seeing his face brings her to tears. Shortly after, the man who knows Jae-wan's dark secrets from America intentionally approaches Monet. Naive and trusting, she thinks he's just an old friend of Jae-wan's and spills everything to him. She has no idea this guy is bad news. When Cha-kyung sees Monet having a meal with this mysterious man, she tips off Jae-wan. Sensing a trap, Jae-wan drops everything and rushes to the scene. But when Jae-wan arrives at the restaurant, Monet is already gone. He is consumed with worry, wondering exactly what that mysterious man told her. Monet, on the other hand, is a complete nervous wreck. She can't stop thinking about the man's claim that Jae-wan is just putting on a massive act. Jae-wan ends up at her doorstep that night, but what excuse could he possibly give for being there? Early the next morning, Jae-wan is already waiting outside Monet's house. He's terrified that she might already know the truth, and he has no idea how to even look her in the eye. Right then, Monet and her assistant Suan walk out of the house. The moment Monet sees Jae-wan, she's startled. However, she plays it cool and pretends like nothing is wrong, greeting him naturally. In reality, after hearing what that man said, she's just as lost as he is on how to deal with him. On the way to their destination, Suan tries to give a work report, but she notices Monet is miles away, buried in her own heavy thoughts and not listening to a word. Being the attentive assistant, Suan decides to play some music to help Monet relax. Soon after, they arrive at a mountain to survey a potential new business site. Meanwhile, back at the office, the vice chairman walks in to find a recording waiting for him. It's the recording of Jae-wan's voice from the night he confronted the old man, after finding out he had indirectly helped kill his own biological father. Back then, to protect Mo-ni, Jae-wan had intended to use Cha-kyung as a pawn to threaten the villain. But in the end, Jae-wan went soft. He couldn't go through with it because he wanted to repay the debt of the old man reaching out to help him years ago. But that scumbag vice chairman? He immediately assumes Jae-wan is playing games with him and decides it's time to teach the boy a lesson he'll never forget. Unaware of the storm brewing, Jae-wan finds himself by Mo-ne's side on the mountain. She had sent Soo-in to get coffee, but to her surprise, it was Jae-wan who brought it to her. Mo-ne jokes that Soo-in must be a double agent, but the second the words leave her mouth, she notices something. Both of them share the last name Cha. She jokingly asks, "Wait, are you guys siblings?" This actually coaxes a rare, genuine smile onto Jae-wan's face. He quickly regains his composure and says, "No." He then asks Mo-ne if she has any other questions. Both of them know exactly what that means, but instead of demanding the truth about his past, Mo-ne simply asks, "Can I trust you?" Faced with her desperate, searching eyes, Jae-wan doesn't give a verbal answer. Instead, he kneels down beside her and nods as his silent promise. He tenderly helps her with her shoes, and the two of them walk off together. Under the glow of the sunset, their shadows blend into one. Mo-ne wishes she could just reach out and gently hold his hand, soaking in the romance of the moment. But right at the climax of the moment, Jae-wan's phone rings. It's the old scumbag vice chairman. Just as he turns to leave, Mo-ne blocks his path. "Jae-wan, don't go," she says, instinctively reaching up to caress his face. Looking at the completely innocent Mo-ne, Jae-wan has to swallow his own pain. He coldly tells her never to come near him again. If you do, he warns, you'll die. Being rejected for the third time by the man she loves, Mo-ne can't hide her agony. She apologizes to him over and over. "I shouldn't have come. Even if I saw things, I should have pretended I didn't." Jae-wan's heart is breaking just as much as hers. He tells her to stay put and wait for Soo-in, then leaves her there all alone. When Soo-in finally arrives, she finds Mo-ne in a state of total despair. She rushes over to ask what happened, but Mo-ne snaps, "It's all your fault! I waited so long for you that my legs are killing me." In that moment, Mo-ne finally loses it and bursts into uncontrollable sobs. On the other side of town, Jae-wan seeks out Cha-kyung, almost as if he's looking for her to extinguish the fire of longing in his heart. Cha-kyung senses his distress immediately. She tells him he needs to apologize to her. But as Jae-wan prepares to leave, she suddenly drops a heavy question. "Is it love? Just admit it, because right now, you look exactly like a teenager who just fell in love for the first time." Or, "Is there some reason you and Mo-ne can never be together?" To that question, Jae-wan remains absolutely silent. Back home, Jae-wan tries to use a late-night run to clear his head and release his frustration. But the harder he resists, the more that scumbag vice chairman wants to break his wings and turn him back into the obedient puppet he used to be. As he thinks back on every single memory with Mo-ne, he realizes that, without even knowing it, he has truly fallen in love with her. But there's a devastating reason why he and Mo-ne can never be together. They are biological siblings. Before he even set foot on Korean soil, that evil old man intentionally showed him a DNA report comparing him and Chairman An. It stated clearly that they were father and son. Early the next morning, Mo-ne goes to Jae-wan's house to apologize, only to find out he's taken a leave of absence. His so-called vacation is actually a trip to see Dr. Yoon. Ever since he learned the truth about Chairman An's death from him, Jae-wan has been hiding the doctor away, waiting for the perfect moment to use his testimony to take down the vice chairman. While he's away, Mo-ne finds out that the creepy man from the US is trying to poach her employees again. A dirty bluebottle fly has flown back into her hotel, and as the chairman, there's no way she's letting it slide. She's determined to punish this fly once and for all. To her surprise, her assistant Soo-in offers to help, revealing that this man used to constantly mess with the general manager back in the States. This is the first time Mo-ne has seen Soo-in so fired up, and they start plotting immediately. Then, Cha-kyung joins the squad, and just like that, the three women team up to give that man a lesson he'll never forget. Unaware of the trap, the man follows Woo-hyun's directions and ends up exactly where they want him. The second he sees three beautiful women in front of him, he gets all excited and starts following them like a lost puppy. But Mo-ne's fly-swatting plan is just getting started. The three of them corner him, and before he knows it, he's backed up to the edge of the road. Mo-ne seizes the moment and gives him a hard shove, sending him tumbling down. The plan is a massive success, and the three of them can't hide their joy. Later, the man crawls back to the hotel looking like a total mess. Mo-ne officially kicks him out, warning him never to show his face at her hotel or near Jae-wan ever again. Meanwhile, Jae-wan meets up with Dr. Yoon after a week. On his way back, he happens to run into the man who was just evicted. Knowing exactly what the guy has been up to, Jae-wan drags him out of his car, gives him a brutal beatdown, and warns him to disappear for good. But wait, plot twist. The real person pulling the strings behind all of this is actually Manager Baek. The plan failed, and the man begs her for one more chance. Manager Baek agrees. So, what kind of chaos is he going to stir up next? That night, Mo-ne is pacing back and forth in front of Jae-wan's house. The moment she sees the lights go on inside, she's ecstatic. But then she remembers his warning to stay away, and she loses her nerve. Honestly, all Mo-ne wanted was for him to give her a little praise and say, "You did a great job today. Little did she know, Jae-wan was quietly watching her from the window the whole time. Looking at his schedule, Jae-wan decides it's time to take action. Early the next morning, Monet is jolted awake by her phone. The second she hears Jae-wan's voice, her sleepiness vanishes. Still not quite grasping the situation, she thinks Jae-wan has suddenly had a change of heart and is finally asking her out on a date. She starts doing her makeup like a madwoman, but then she looks at the clock. It's only 5 a.m. There's no doubt about it. This is time for a workout, not a date. Monet thinks something must have happened at the hotel. But nope, Jae-wan has decided to start a 1-week intensive training course for her. She had begged him to be her teacher before, and he said no. So she's shocked he changed his mind so fast. Monet tries to use this as a chance to get closer to him, but unfortunately, they get caught by those 2 gossiping employees again. To avoid any more unnecessary rumors, Monet instinctively tries to hide behind Jae-wan's back. But Nope straight up pulls her out into the open. Now, even if these 2 jumped into the Yellow River, they could never wash away this scandal. When Jae-wan tries to give her a business lesson, she's like a naughty schoolgirl. One minute she's teasing him with a laser pointer, the next she's making a mess under the table. Jae-wan is completely at his wit's end with her. Later that night, as Jae-wan is about to continue his lecture, that crazy man from before shows up again. This time, he's gone completely off the deep end, his eyes bloodshot and wild. The staff tries their best to hold him back, but he's not listening to anyone until Monet screams, "Stop!" Jae-wan tosses the guy aside like he's nothing, and rushes to Monet's side, shouting, "Do you want to die? You almost just got killed." Seeing Monet injured, Jae-wan loses all sense of logic. He doesn't care about the judgmental eyes of the people around them. He just grabs Monet and drags her away. Of course, the staff witnesses the whole dramatic scene. Jae-wan takes Monet back to his place. His anxiety is so high that he's practically losing his mind. After trying to suppress his exploding emotions, he begins to tenderly apply medicine to her wounds. And once again, Cha Kyung is watching from the shadows. She's been saying for a long time that Jae-wan needs to just admit his feelings. It's a classic case of the players are blind, but the spectators see everything. Jae-wan wishes he could just beg Monet to stop acting this way. But seeing the deep sadness in his eyes, Monet can't help but ask, "Am I the one making you sad? Do you really hate me that much? If I really love you, will it actually kill you?" As she says this, she can't resist reaching out to caress his face. This time, seeing Monet's hesitation, it's Jae-wan's turn to take the lead. He finally admits his true heart. "Actually, I really like you. Your hair, your eyes, your nose, your lips. I like all of it." The next morning, Monet does her makeup to the nines and walks over to find him, looking more glamorous than ever. But nobody's home. It turns out Jae-wan had received an SOS call from Dr. Yoon. When he arrives at the secret hideout that only they knew about, the place is a total wreck, and Yoon is nowhere to be found. There's no doubt about it, the evil vice chairman is behind this. In a fit of rage, Jae-wan hurls his phone, and it happens to smash a flower pot. But that accident leads him to a shocking discovery. The information Yoon wanted to tell him. It's the real DNA report between him and Chairman An. It states clearly that there is no biological father-son relationship. So, what was that first report the vice chairman gave him? In that moment, Jae-wan feels like his entire world is collapsing. When he gets home, he confirms the results. He and Monet are absolutely not related. This means he can love her legally and openly. But then, the guilt of Chairman An's death still weighs on him. Monet, completely clueless about the DNA bombshell, is still floating on Cloud 9 after his deep confession from the night before. She's even bragging to her pet cat. Who else in the world gets a confession like that? Jae-wan catches her in the middle of her celebration as he returns. Seeing him now, Monet suddenly puts on this ultra-sophisticated lady persona. She even starts using super formal, polite language. Jae-wan is totally confused by her new act and just asks if she's been waiting for him the whole time. Jae-wan invites her in for some cake. At the table, Monet doubles down on her perfect lady role. Not only does she use formal honorifics, but she even takes tiny, delicate bites of the cake. Jae-wan just sits there silently, watching her perform. When he makes an excuse to go change his clothes, Monet immediately drops the act and gasps, "Oh my god, pretending to be prim and proper is exhausting." It turns out she's doing all of this because she researched his type online, and the results told her he likes girls who are elegant and refined. Through the artist, Woo Hyun finally learns a game-changing secret. The painting the chairman commissioned wasn't actually Monet's famous water lilies, but a specific photo of a hidden corner of the hotel. Woo Hyun is stumped, he can't figure out what it means. Just then, Jae-wan walks by and asks why he isn't in uniform yet. Woo Hyun shows him the photo and explains his theory. After meeting the artist, he's more convinced than ever that the chairman didn't take his own life. Jae-wan's heart skips a beat. He's so rattled that he cuts Woo Hyun off before he can even finish his sentence. Woo Hyun insists there's a secret hidden in the painting, mentioning that there was originally a ribbon with the chairman's name on it, but it was accidentally thrown away. Jae-wan doesn't understand why Woo Hyun is telling him all this. The truth is, Woo Hyun just wants to find the secret as a gift for Monet. But he's only one man, and he can clearly see that the general manager is also in love with her. As Jae-wan leaves the parking lot, he gets a text from Monet asking to meet at the park at 6 p.m. He gives a cold, one-word reply, "Okay." Monet is totally speechless at his dry attitude. To make matters worse, Manager Baek shows up with a literal block of ice and tells her to wake up and get her head in the game. While Monet is getting a lecture from Manager Baek, Jae-wan goes to the painting. He compares the hotel's version with the real water lilies and finally spots the difference. There's a tiny boat in the water that shouldn't be there. He rushes to the actual location of the painting. Suddenly, he remembers a cryptic clue the crazy girl once told him. The truth is on the bracelet. If there's no wind, just row the boat. Combined with what Woo-hyun said about the missing ribbon, everything clicks. Jae-wan heads to the lake, finds the small boat, and discovers a voice recorder hidden inside. Right as he finds it, Woo-hyun, who finally figured out the ribbon's secret, comes running up. Unfortunately, he's one step behind. Jae-wan hides the recorder and lies to Woo-hyun, saying he found nothing. Just as Jae-wan is about to listen to the recording, he gets an urgent SOS call from Dr. Yoon. That scumbag vice chairman has locked him up in a mental hospital in Seoul. Yoon begs Jae-wan to save him before 5 p.m. Jae-wan is torn. He has a date with Monet, but he can't let Yoon die. He chooses to save Yoon, but as he's speeding to the hospital, he gets into a serious car accident and can't move his vehicle. Realizing he's running out of time, he tries to find a detour, but it's too late. The radio news breaks. Dr. Yoon has died in a tragic car crash. Jae-wan completely collapses. He failed his promise to get the doctor out alive. Meanwhile, Monet is at the park, waiting and waiting for a man who isn't coming. Back in his car, the broken Jae-wan gets a message from the adoption center. Get this. The man who sent him away to America and the man who rescued and adopted him were the same person, the vice chairman. In a fit of pure rage, Jae-wan calls the old man and demands to know who he really is. The vice chairman coldly replies, "I am your master." Jae-wan hurls his phone in fury. Finally, he remembers the voice recorder. This is it. He plays the message Chairman An recorded from Monet before he died. The recording reveals the ultimate, soul-crushing truth. That scumbag vice chairman is actually Jae-wan's biological father. The man who abused him, manipulated him, and turned him into a monster is his own flesh and blood. This final blow is too much. No matter how cold or tough the hotel monster is, his entire world has just turned into ash. Jae-wan is in a complete downward spiral. He grabs the portrait that he had always considered his spiritual anchor and smashes it against the floor. He's desperately wishing that all of this, the DNA, the biological father, was just a nightmare. But the truth is cold. The blood of a complete scumbag is running through his veins. It makes him feel like he'd be better off dead. He realizes that the old man has been manipulating his entire life, turning him into nothing more than an accomplice to a murderer. How is he supposed to look Monet in the eye now? After who knows how long, Jae-wan finally makes it to their meeting spot. The first thing he sees is Monet, her face filled with intense worry for him. In this cruel world, she is the one person who truly, honestly loves him. He rushes to her side. Seeing his devastated expression, Moni immediately thinks that scumbag vice chairman beat him again, and she's ready to go find him and settle the score right then and there. But Jae-wan just pulls her into a tight, desperate hug. Monet tells him it's too late for dinner now, so she wants to change her wish for the night. She drives Jae-wan to a beautiful vacation villa by the sea. It turns out the owner is an old driver who worked for her father for over 30 years. She uses the excuse of wanting to check on the place, but in reality, she just wants to get Jae-wan away from the world so he can breathe. She doesn't ask any questions, she just protects him in her own quiet way. But looking at the woman he loves, Jae-wan is torn apart inside. He doesn't know if he even has the right to love her anymore. Moni notices his hand trembling as he tries to pull away. Instead of letting go, she boldly grabs his hand and presses it firmly against her cheek. Faced with a woman so beautiful and so deeply in love with him, Jae-wan is at a total loss for words. He can't bring himself to tell her who he really is. Meanwhile, Moni's assistant informs her about the smashed portrait in Jae-wan's house. Moni understands that for him, painting was like a part of his soul. For it to be in pieces, she knows something catastrophic must have happened. She decides to keep playing along, pretending she knows nothing while staying by his side. When she opens the door to his room later, she finds him collapsed on the floor, asleep, but drenched in a cold sweat. She has no idea what he's going through, but she's desperate to comfort him. The next morning, Jae-wan wakes up to find the room empty. Monet is gone. Panic, pure and raw, surges through him. He sprints outside, and seeing the messy surroundings, his mind flashes to Dr. Yoon's tragic end. He is terrified that the vice chairman has snatched Monet too. He frantically searches every corner of the house, inside and out, but she's nowhere to be found. He tries to call her, but then remembers she confiscated his phone the night before. His fear hits a fever pitch. He's screaming her name into the void, but there's no answer. Finally, he spots her, safe and sound. He just wants to run to her and never let go. When Moni's fingertips touch Jae-wan's soaking wet shirt, she realizes he's been out in the rain, desperately looking for her. In that moment, Jae-wan makes a choice. He's going to throw everything else away just to love her. Right after that, the mood lightens as Monet hauls over a bucket of paint. She's dressed herself up like a total ajumma, a middle-aged handyman, and brags that as the chairman, there's nothing she can't do. Well, talk about famous last words. She gets served a reality check almost immediately. She has absolutely no clue how to even start painting, but her chairman pride won't let her admit defeat, so she stubbornly pushes forward. This brief moment of happiness feels like a dream to Jae-wan, and he decides to let himself stay in this beautiful dream for just one day. He walks over to help her, telling her to stop daydreaming and start cleaning the other areas. Monet instantly becomes obedient. After all, she's the best at being an assistant. Of course, her definition of best mostly involves throwing things around randomly. Jae-wan just watches her with a look of pure, doting affection. After a while, the pain is almost gone, and Jae-wan's wall is nearly finished, while Monet is still over there struggling and being her usual clumsy self. He can't help himself, so he sends Monet to get him a glass of water. After serving him for a bit, Monet starts to feel like it's unfair and demands that he fix the situation. Next thing you know, Monet is climbed up to sit right on Jae-wan's shoulders. This time, it's her turn to boss him around. Even though she constantly claims she's a lightweight, Jae-wan is almost at his breaking point with her slow, sluggish pace. Amidst their loud playing and teasing, the final stage of the work is finally finished. This rare moment of peace makes both of them feel completely satisfied. After that, Monet draws a symbol of their love on the wall. There's no way Jae-wan doesn't understand what she's trying to say, but unable to give her an answer, he chooses to avoid it. Despite that, Monet still proactively reaches out and takes his hand. Later on, she starts doing cartoon voiceovers for him. In her own unique way, she tries her hardest to comfort Jae-wan's wounded heart, but while she's talking, she uses a cartoon character's voice to ask Jae-wan if he wants to live with her. Once again, he chooses to dodge the question. He turns off the TV and tells Monet to go get some rest. Truth is, he really wants to live with her too, but he just can't bring himself to say the words. Just as he's brushing his teeth, Monet pops up beside him, mimicking his movements as they brush together, looking exactly like a pair of newlyweds. Monet's liveliness finally coaxes a laugh out of Jae-wan. She then uses the voice of a blue clownfish to ask him if he wants to live together again. Seeing the look on his face, Monet immediately changes her tone. That blue clownfish just now is named Dory. She has short-term memory loss, which is why she keeps repeating the same sentence over and over. This comment strikes a chord, reminding Jae-wan yet again of his identity as the son of that scumbag old man. So when Monet asks him seriously one more time if he wants to marry her, Jae-wan, who simply cannot give her the answer she wants, picks her up and carries her straight out of the door. Right now, he still doesn't want to shatter the beauty of this moment. When he comes out of the bathroom, he finds that Monet has thick-faked it and already spread a mattress on the floor of his room. They get into a little argument about who's going to sleep on the bed. A second later, Jae-wan just picks Monet up and places her on the bed. The steamy, intimate atmosphere immediately reaches its peak, and the bold Monet starts her intense attack. No matter how proactive Monet gets, Jae-wan remains unmoved. Seeing that the man wants to leave, Monet can't hold it back anymore. I'm also very scared. You haven't told me anything about what happened. Plus, I can clearly feel that you love me. But I also have this feeling that if I get even a tiny bit closer, you'll want to run far away. That makes me so afraid. Jae-wan says bluntly, "Didn't you see everything already? Aren't you afraid of me?" Monet replies that she doesn't remember anything. That Jae-wan she knows is a warm person, someone who gives his all for the hotel, and someone who can protect her. Before she can even finish her sentence, Jae-wan proactively takes off his shirt right in front of her. This time, he wants her to look at him really look. He tells her that Jae-wan in front of her is a man who has lived with pure hatred for others for decades, and he'll stay that way until the day he dies. He tells her he's someone who even wants to kill others, and will likely spend his whole life living under a curse. Furthermore, he tells her he's been too used to beatings since he was a child. Before he can finish, Monet, who can't bear to hear another word, cuts him off and tearfully hugs his scarred body. She is deeply in love with him, but her heart is also breaking for everything he's been through. Accidentally reopening his wounds makes her feel terrible. But just as the two are wrapped up in each other's arms, tragedy strikes back at the hotel. Soo-in can't get a hold of the general manager and leaves one urgent message after another. Cha-kyung happens to see this. Soo-in claims the two of them are away on a business trip. But Cha-kyung sees through the lie like a mirror. She tells Soo-in there's no need to hide the truth and demands the address. She says she's going to bring them back because if she doesn't, both of them will end up getting hurt. But the loyal Soo-in refuses to give up their location. And this single act of loyalty is what plants the seeds for the tragedy that's about to unfold. Meanwhile, the two lovers are completely oblivious, still lost in their beautiful dream. Seeing the tattoo on Jae-wan's back, Monet can't help but ask about the meaning behind those wings. It turns out that when Jae-wan was just a little boy, he used to draw wings on himself. He desperately wanted his brother to be able to fly high, so he drew a pair of wings on both of their backs, hoping they could finally fly away and escape the cage they were trapped in. Hearing the heartbreaking story behind the ink, Monet can't help but lean in and give the tattoo a gentle, loving kiss. All she wants is for Jae-wan to forget his past trauma and finally get a peaceful night's sleep without a worry in the world. The next morning, Monet wakes up to find Jae-wan just staring at her, his eyes locked on hers without blinking. She immediately gets shy and blushes, but the romantic vibes don't last long, because out of nowhere, Monet is suddenly arrested by the police on charges of illegal business practices and fleeing. At this point, neither of them has any idea what's going on. Jae-wan is forced to stand there and watch her get dragged away, completely helpless. He assumes the vice chairman is the one behind this dirty trick. But here's the real plot twist. The person who actually sent Monet to jail is Manager Baek. Since Monet was the one who signed the business plans back then, she was set up to be the criminal without even knowing it. The vice chairman doesn't understand why Manager Baek is messing with his money-making schemes, but she tells him she's giving him a massive gift. And that gift? It's a plan to make Jae-wan crawl back to him like an obedient dog. Right then, Jae-wan, still thinking the vice chairman is the mastermind, calls him and begs him to get Monet out of jail. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Woo-hyun hears the news about Monet. For the first time, he returns to his family's farm to beg his father for help. It turns out, Woo-hyun is actually a hidden heir. a rich kid in disguise. His relationship with his dad has been broken since his sister passed away, and he hasn't called him father in years. But now, he's opening his mouth to beg his dad to be a witness for Mo-ni, since he was at the hotel that day. However, his stone-cold father refuses his son's plea. Back at the hotel, Jae-wan rushes to Cha-kyung for help, but she says her hands are tied. She also believes the vice chairman is the one pulling the strings in this game. To save Mo-ni, Jae-wan realizes he has no choice. He returns to that scumbag old man and hands over the secret voice recorder as a sign of his absolute loyalty. In that instant, Jae-wan's beautiful dream of a happy life with Monet is officially shattered. Shortly after, Monet is released. She's dying to share the good news with Jae-wan, but when she sees him, it's like he's turned into a completely different person. Monet is beyond confused. She can't understand why he's acting so cold. Her gut tells her his sudden change has everything to do with that evil vice chairman. She tries to get the truth out of Suin about why she was really released, but Suin keeps her mouth shut. Monet has no clue that Jae-wan sacrificed his soul to get her out of that police station. Even though Jae-wan gave up the recording to show his loyalty, the vice chairman still doesn't fully trust him. He warns Jae-wan not to waver because of his sister ever again. The two of them meet again during a hostile company board meeting. Monet becomes the target of a brutal verbal attack from the directors. She expects Jae-wan to jump in and save her, but instead, he does the exact opposite. He humiliates her in front of everyone. He indirectly denies the dating rumors and tells the whole room that her professional skills are pathetic. His cold distance makes her feel like she's looking at a total stranger. Refusing to let it go, Monet uses her authority as chairman to order Jae-wan to her office. She demands an explanation. She knows deep down that the vice chairman is using her to blackmail him, but Jae-wan just tells her to apologize to the old man and even thank him. He says if it weren't for the vice chairman, the whole world would be talking about the CL hotel scandals. Monet asks him, "Doesn't acting like this make you exhausted?" But Jae-wan hits her with a cold reality check. "I'm just returning to my rightful place. We don't belong in the same world. I'm someone from the bottom tier who worked my way up here, and that's where I'm staying." Even though Jae-wan's words are becoming colder and more heartless by the second, Mo-ni knows him better than that. She's convinced he has a secret reason for acting this way. So she sticks to her guns, telling him she's not going anywhere, she'll stay right here and wait for him. Jae-wan just gives her a dry suit yourself and walks out of the room. As he leaves Mo-ni's office, he runs into Cha-kyung, who drops a heavy truth bomb. "I know you sacrificed yourself to that old man to save Mo-ni, but you're holding the knife by the wrong end. The blade is pointed straight at you." At this point, Jae-wan is like a living dead man. He couldn't care less if the knife cuts him or not. He just tells Cha-kyung to stop talking nonsense. Despite her good intentions, he shuts her out. His only goal now is to use his own strength to tear that old man down from the inside. Later, Jae-wan shows up at the vice chairman's house unannounced, giving the old man a real fright. Seeing Jae-wan acting so close and intimate with his own daughter makes the vice chairman's blood boilies practically jumping out of his skin with rage. He quickly makes up an excuse to separate Jae-wan from her, but little does he know, Jae-wan's revenge is just getting started. The vice chairman then shows Jae-wan a new development plan for the hotel. This is the exact site Monet had shown him before her father's dying wish. She and Jae-wan had promised to build a humanitarian theme park there together. But the vice chairman? He wants to build a casino. He wants CL Hotel to be his personal kingdom. Jae-wan plays the part of the loyal soldier, saying, "Soon, CL will belong to you." But in his heart, he's planning to destroy the man. The second Jae-wan steps out of that house, he is overcome with physical nausea. That's how much his biological father disgusts him. He vows to himself that once he burns everything to the ground, he will find his way back to Monet. As if they were telepathically connected, he finds a note Monet left for him in the very next moment. His heart aches with a bittersweet pain, but he still can't reach out to her. On the other side, Monet is remembering the man through his things. Even though the man she loves is right in front of her, she can't find a reason to get close. So she starts acting like him, drinking bitter black coffee and watching the Charlie Chaplin movies he loves. Meanwhile, Jae-wan is acting like her eating sweet cake and watching the clownfish movie she loves. They are living each other's lives, desperately missing one another in silence. The next day, Mo-ni is harassed and hurt by some people in the hotel. Jae-wan sees the woman he loves being attacked, but he is forced to stand there like a statue, unable to move a muscle because he can feel a pair of eyes watching his every move from behind. Monet catches on, follows his gaze, and sees that scumbag vice chairman standing there. Woo-hyun and the others rush to help her, while Jae-wan heartlessly turns his back and walks away in front of everyone. But Cha-kyung isn't fooled. She sees right through his mask. Finally, under the protection of Woo-hyun and Suan, Mo-ni safely leaves the scene. Later, she asks Suan if the vice chairman was behind the attack. Suan drops a bombshell. It was the vice chairman's plan, but to shift the blame onto you, the person who personally submitted the incriminating documents, was someone else. Monet realizes instantly that she's talking about Jae-wan. Before Suan can even utter his name, Mo-ni cuts her off. "From now on, I don't want to hear another word from you about this. If you say it, you're fired." The truth is, right after Monet was attacked, Suan had confronted Jae-wan, demanding to know if he was the one who framed her. He intended to play dumb, but then he told her to report the truth to Monet. He wanted Monet to know he betrayed her, thinking it would keep her safe. Having the man she loves stab her in the back like this leaves Monet's heart in pieces. He once told her she could trust him, so what is this? As she remembers every beautiful memory they shared, the pain is like a knife to her chest. But little does she know, the man on the other side is suffering just as much as she is. The second Jae-wan hears the doorbell, his reflexes kick in, and he hopes it's Monet. But when he opens the door, it's Cha-kyung. She tells him she's been craving a steak made by his hands. With Monet living rent-free in his head, Jae-wan is in no mood for guests. He tries to see her out, but Cha-kyung stops him, saying, "I know you want to run to her right now. That's exactly why I'm here to keep you from going." Hearing that, Jae-wan gives in. He actually makes the steak for Cha-kyung, but his mind is miles away with Monet. He even cuts his finger while prepping, but he doesn't even flinch. The physical pain is absolutely nothing compared to the agony in his heart. Unable to watch him suffer like this, Cha-kyung steps in and takes the knife away. Only then does he realize he's bleeding, but his first instinct isn't to clean his hand, it's to wipe the blood off the onion. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Monet is losing it. She wants to drag Jae-wan in front of her and demand an explanation. She types out a massive heartfelt message, but in the end, she can't bring herself to hit send and deletes the whole thing. Just then her doorbell rings. She's ecstatic, thinking it's Jae-wan. But no, it's Woo-hyun. One look at her disappointed face and you can tell exactly who she was waiting for. She tries to play it cool, acting like she wasn't waiting for anyone at all. Woo-hyun is there to give her the ribbon. Based on the secret codes her father left behind, Monet is 100% sure there's something hidden on that small boat. Even though Woo-hyun says he already checked and found nothing, Monet insists on seeing for herself. She searches the boat and actually finds an empty box. She realizes someone got there first and took whatever was inside. But who? Woo-hyun suddenly remembers seeing Jae-wan at the lake earlier. Before long, Monet storms over to Jae-wan's house, only to find him with Cha-kyung. She asks Cha-kyung for some private space to talk. Jae-wan tries to use Cha-kyung as a shield to make Monet give up on him, but this time, Cha-kyung refuses to play along and leaves. Monet gets straight to the point. "About that small boat. Do you have anything to tell me?" Jae-wan's lying game is strong, and he claims he knows nothing. Refusing to back down, Monet follows him into the house. She just wants to hear him say, with his own mouth, that he didn't see anything, because to her, he's the one person who would never break her trust, no matter what. Hearing him say it, Monet feels a momentary sense of relief, but a second later, he drives a knife through her heart, telling her that the trust she has is just a delusion she created in her own head. It has absolutely nothing to do with him. Monet is devastated, but little does she know that Jae-wan's own heart is being shredded into pieces as he says it. To speed up his plan to destroy the vice chairman's casino dream, Jae-wan contacts a major investor named Lee. Meanwhile, Monet decides to test Jae-wan one more time. She calls him, remembering how it only took him 51 seconds to reach her before. She starts counting from 1 to 100. The tragic part? Jae-wan is actually standing right outside her door the entire time. Monet finishes her count and finally gives up. She whispers to herself, "He's outside the door, isn't he?" But she's too terrified to open it. She's scared that if she opens that door and he's not there, her world will end. In that moment, Jae-wan realizes the truth. Monet has finally stopped believing in him. The next morning, Jae-wan meets with Lee, who just arrived from the US. And here is the jaw-dropping plot twist. This man is actually Jae-wan's younger brother from the orphanage. They hold a major meeting to discuss building the casino in the hotel. When Monet hears the news from Director Baek, she storms into the meeting and causes a total scene. With the meeting disrupted, Lee suggests they reschedule for later. Afterward, he walks over to Director Baek. And get ready for the ultimate shocker. It turns out Lee and Director Baek are actually mother and son. Plot twist: all of this was actually a setup orchestrated by manager Baek. Meanwhile, in another part of the hotel, a furious Monet decides to point her anger directly at Jae-wan. She literally dumps a whole trash can over the head of the man she loves. And the crazy part? Jae-wan doesn't even try to dodge it. Remember, these two once promised to build a one-of-a-kind special hotel together. But now, he's totally betrayed that promise by helping that scumbag vice chairman build a casino. Monet is completely lost. Is this even the same Jae-wan she used to know? She feels like she can't see through his mask anymore. When Soo-in hears about Jae-wan being covered in trash, she brings him clean clothes. She tries to ask if he's okay, but he acts as if nothing happened. Soo-in is forced to play along with his stoic act. He even asks her to just focus on taking care of Monet from now on, basically entrusting her safety to her. Things go from bad to worse as Jae-wan gets summoned to the vice chairman's office. Talk about a rough day. He gets humiliated by Monet, then bullied by this old snake. Because of Monet's interference, the casino project is being delayed. The vice chairman loses his cool and takes it all out on Jae-wan, blaming him for not being able to control a little girl. He warns Jae-wan to use whatever dirty tactics are necessary to stop Monet from ruining his grand plan. Jae-wan plays the part of the loyal soldier to his face, but behind his back, he's quietly sharpening his knife for his own revenge. Since their relationship fell apart, these two have been fighting like cats and dogs in front of the staff. The toxic atmosphere is making everyone's lives miserable. The employees are whispering that after meeting Monet, Jae-wan finally started looking like a human being, but now he's gone right back to being that cold-blooded hotel monster. But when the world goes quiet at night, the real Jae-wan comes out. He's back to his old habitually counting from 1 to 3 while watching her window. Only when he sees the lights go on in her room does he feel safe enough to leave. Little does he know, Monet isn't resting either. Just like him, she's drinking her sorrows away. Thinking back to all the hurtful things he said during the day, she starts cursing him out, calling him a total jerk. Right then, she spots Jae-wan's cat. Her first instinct is to chase it away. But then she thinks, if this poor thing stays with a jerk like him, it'll end up just as bad. So she decides to rescue the cat. But the cat bolts, and a totally wasted Mo-nee ends up chasing it right into Jae-wan's yard. Heartbroken and exhausted, she starts crying until she eventually passes out on the ground. Jae-wan hears everything she said and only dares to step out once she's fast asleep. He just wants to comfort her like he used to, but he knows he can't reveal his heart yet. He whispers to her, "I'll come back. Once I settle everything, I'm coming back to you." Unfortunately, Mo-nee is too far gone to hear him. Jae-wan takes off his jacket, wraps it around her, and lies down on the grass right beside her to watch over her. The next morning, Mo-nee wakes up to a massive shock. 3 gossip-hungry employees are standing there staring at her. She's beyond embarrassed as they witness her sleeping outside in his yard. Talk about a walk of shame. The employees are also totally confused by the whole situation. Meanwhile, Lee remembers his mother's orders and decides to make his move on Mo-nee. While she's out hiking to clear her head, he coincidentally shows up to act all concerned and caring. Even though they've only met once, Mo-nee immediately recognizes him as the money-hungry investor who wants to ruin the hotel. Naturally, she gives him a major cold shoulder, but the guy is persistent and won't stop following her. Jae-wan catches them together, and he's hit with a massive wave of unease. He immediately confronts Lee and warns him to stay the hell away from Mo-nee. Desperate for a way to fight back, Mo-nee turns to Manager Baek, begging her for a strategy to finally stop that scumbag vice chairman once and for all. Manager Baek drops a major truth bomb. To stop the vice chairman's plans, Mo-nee needs 3 specific people on her side: Woo Hyun's father, the investor Lee, and Jae-wan. It turns out Woo Hyun's father is the owner of the golden plot of land, right in the middle of the hotel. But Manager Baek warns her that getting him to budge won't be easy. She tells Mo-nee to bring someone she trusts along for the mission. Naturally, Mo-nee takes Woo Hyun with her. But when they arrive, she's shocked to find out they are at his father's farm. Even though Mo-nee and his son are close, the greedy old landowner has absolutely zero intention of selling his land to her. Refusing to give up, Mo-nee tracks down the investor, Lee, trying to convince him to fund her humanitarian theme park instead of a casino. But she walks straight into a nightmare. The evil vice chairman and Jae-wan are already there. This is the moment we finally learn the chilling reason behind Mo-nee's phobia of pigeons. When she was just a little girl, that monster of a vice chairman abandoned her in a forest swarming with birds. The sound of their wings and their cries became her ultimate childhood trauma. Watching the woman he loves being psychologically tortured again, Jae-wan is forced to stand there like a statue, unable to do a single thing. Consumed by bitterness, he heads to a restaurant to drown his sorrows in alcohol. Cha Kyung sees him spiraling and, unable to watch him suffer anymore, suggests that if he's in this much pain, he should just stay with her and be done with it. But Jae-wan shuts her down, saying they are both people without a self. He tells her, "If we don't protect ourselves, we won't survive." When Jae-wan returns home after rejecting Cha Kyung, he finds Mo-nee waiting at his door. His heart sinks. Not knowing what else to do, he tries to coldly chase her away. But Mo-nee isn't having it and walks right into his house. She's desperate for just one word of comfort. She just wants him to hold her. But Jae-wan pushes her away again and again. Mo-nee breaks down, crying out, "I was so scared today. I felt like I couldn't breathe. But there was no one to pull me out of that place. The one person who was supposed to save me was you." Her words cut Jae-wan to the core. It's not that he doesn't want to protect her, it's that he can't. Despite him pushing her away, Mo-nee clings to him, practically begging, "Just this once, just stay like this." But he forces himself to pry her hands off. His heart is bleeding, but he knows that if he hugs her now, his father will literally kill her. Right then, Manager Baek sends Mo-nee a celebration gift. Today is the vice chairman's birthday, and she asks Mo-nee why she isn't attending the party. When Mo-nee opens the box, she finds a voice recorder inside. She plays it and hears the entire heated confrontation between Jae-wan and the vice chairman on the rooftop. In that instant, the horrifying truth about her father's death is finally laid bare. She tries to find Dr. Yoon to confirm everything, only to discover he's already died in a car accident. Remembering Jae-wan's strange behavior lately and his warnings not to trust him, Mo-nee completely collapses. She can't believe Jae-wan knew the truth all along, and she's terrified of just how much he was involved. She feels a crushing sense of guilt toward her late father. How could she have fallen in love with a man who played a part in his destruction? Shortly after, Mo-nee pulls herself together. She glams up and makes a grand, stunning entrance at the vice chairman's birthday party. And this time, she's come prepared for war. She presents him with her first gift. To everyone's surprise, it's not the recording, but an old group photo. She drops a single sentence that makes the old man's face turn pale instantly. Then, using the excuse of wanting to lighten the mood, she brings out the second gift. She pointedly looks at Jae-wan and tells him to open the bottle of wine. The moment Jae-wan sees that specific bottle, he knows exactly what Mo-nee is up to. Mo-nee's fierce counterattacks have the old man practically fuming with rage, but since they're in public, he's forced to sit there and take it. Later that night, as the scumbag vice chairman is playing the part of the happy family man, Mo-nee hesitates. Should she pull out the real big gift now? Suddenly, Jae-wan appears at her side and begs her not to destroy the vice chairman. Mo-nee ignores him, using the excuse of going to the bathroom to slip away. But she isn't headed to the restroom, she's heading straight for the old man's private office. She knows a single voice recording won't be enough to take him down. She needs cold, hard evidence that he murdered her father. She searches the room frantically but finds nothing. Then, she sees a photo on his desk of the vice chairman and her father together when they were young. In a blind fit of rage, Mo-ni smashes the frame to pieces. Jae-wan, standing outside the door, hears the crash and rushes in. He doesn't understand why she's doing this, but his instinct is to protect her, so he starts helping her clean up the mess. Just then, the vice chairman arrives at the door. Jae-wan immediately hides Mo-ni outside the window, literally hanging on for dear life. He opens the door and lies through his teeth, telling the old man he was looking for something and accidentally broke the photo. But the vice chairman knows. He deliberately says things out loud just so Mo-ni, hiding outside, can hear them. After dropping his threats, he makes an excuse to rest and leaves. The second he's gone, Jae-wan pulls Mo-ni back in, and they make a run for it. But the vice chairman didn't actually go to bed. Feeling betrayed by Jae-wan once again, he's already plotting his next move. Meanwhile, Mo-ni is desperate for the truth and demands an answer from Jae-wan. She asks point blank, "Is the vice chairman the one who killed my father?" Jae-wan says no. Her heart is suffocating, so she tries another way. "Did you know that the vice chairman killed my father?" Again, Jae-wan flatly denies it. Heartbroken and frustrated, Mo-ni uses the excuse of searching for evidence to lash out. She starts trashing everything in Jae-wan's house, throwing things everywhere. Jae-wan, knowing he's in the wrong, just lets her vent her anger. But then, Mo-ni discovers the dark side of him, the part of himself he never wanted her to see. Seeing the woman he loves look at him with pure terror, Jae-wan realizes he truly has no home to return to anymore. He once told Cha-kyung that Mo-ni was different, that even though he was on a path of no return, having a place to come back to was his only happiness. But now, that's gone. As he chases after her outside, he finds the scumbag vice chairman waiting there. The old man clearly saw them escape from his house, but he pretends he's there because he was worried about Jae-wan. He even has the nerve to fake thank Mo-ni for the birthday gift. Mo-ni can't take the gaslighting anymore and screams, "Kill her!" She pulls out the voice recorder. But before the recording can even start, Jae-wan snatches it and smashes it into 1,000 pieces. The vice chairman isn't even scared of the recording. Why? Because he knows the ultimate trump card. Jae-wan was the one who hand-delivered the pills to her father. Jae-wan was the one who blocked her from seeing Dr. Yoon. The old man pins every single sin on Jae-wan's head. Unable to listen to another word, Mo-ni tells him to shut up. But then Jae-wan proactively confesses to everything. He admits it was all him. In that moment, Mo-ni can't believe her ears. Even though she hates Jae-wan right now, when she sees the vice chairman start to beat him, she still can't help but jump in front of Jae-wan to shield him. The vice chairman realizes this is his ultimate leverage and now completely controls Mo-ni through her feelings for Jae-wan. He mockingly tells her that if she wants to call the police, go ahead since he and the general manager are in this together. What does he have to fear? After the old man leaves, Jae-wan is so ashamed that he can't even look at Mo-ni and runs away. Mo-ni chases him down. Even at this point, she still wants to believe he was just being threatened. She begs him, "If you tell me you didn't do it, I'll believe you." But Jae-wan doubles down on the lie. He tells her it's all true, from intentionally getting close to her father, to delivering the pills on time every day, to being with Dr. Yoon until the end. It was all him. Mo-ni is in total shock. She can't wrap her head around why he'd do something so horrible. There has to be a reason. "What did my father ever do to you?" Jae-wan's answer. A cold, flat, no reason. Of course, he can't tell her the real reason, the soul-crushing truth about their supposed bloodline. Her heart turns to ice as she declares she's going to send both him and the vice chairman to prison. Jae-wan, acting like he's got nothing left to lose, pulls out his phone and dares her to call the cops right then and there. Mo-ni hurls the phone away in a rage and storms out. But did she actually call? Nope, she didn't even dial a single number. Back at home, she smashes the gift Jae-wan gave her onto the floor. But the second she sees it in pieces, regret washes over her. She's trapped in this love. Where is it even supposed to go? Meanwhile, Jae-wan looks into his cabinet, and his mind drifts back to his most painful memory. After accidentally killing his boss as a child, the vice chairman took him away. The old man forced him to watch the funeral from a distance and manipulated him, saying that if he went back, he'd be branded a murderer forever. Jae-wan, a terrified kid, had no choice but to follow. The vice chairman told him clearly, "The murderer is dead. You are Jae-wan now." He then pulled out a gun and forced the boy to look at it, a reminder of what he had done. That gun became the secret dark side of Jae-wan's life, a chain that has kept him a slave to that scumbag for decades. But now, he's finally ready to revolt. He's already building a plan to take the old man down. On the other side, Mo-ni is losing her mind. She's overthinking everything and just can't accept the truth. Whether it's the sweet Jae-wan or the heartless one, he's living rent-free in her head, and she can't evict him. Even knowing he's the one who destroyed her father, she's too far gone to escape. Jae-wan even tells her she's insane for falling for a guy like him so easily. If you finally come to your senses, stop acting like a fool and get out. Mo-ni can't help but call him a total scumbag. "But I still have to thank you," she says. "Thank you for giving me a reason to drive a knife into my own heart." With those words, she storms off. Staring at the shattered pieces on the floor, the gift he once gave her, Jae-wan feels the same agonizing pain. It's all broken now. Later, Mo-ni runs into Cha-kyung and tries to act like she doesn't even know Jae-wan. But Cha-kyung isn't buying it. "If you don't want him, I'll just pick him up for myself." She adds, "Even though saying this will hurt your pride, I know that the woman Jae-wan would risk his life to love is you, Mo-ni. I used to think I was the only one who could see his wounds, but you're the only one who can actually heal them." This hits Monet like a ton of bricks. Meanwhile, Jae-wan is deep into his revenge plot against his biological scumbag father. Hearing the happy, cozy laughter of the vice chairman's family inside their home makes his skin crawl. When Monet returns to the hotel, she catches the two of them together. Jae-wan walks past her as if she's a ghost, and the bitterness in her heart is overwhelming. Suddenly, Lee appears behind her. Remembering Manager Baek's advice, Monet's attitude toward him turns completely respectful and polite. After all, if she wants to stop the casino from being built, she needs him on her side. In another scene, the vice chairman is practicing a magic trick for an upcoming hotel performance. Jae-wan volunteers to help him, claiming it's to boost the man's public image. But in reality, it's a meticulously staged act of psychological warfare. Jae-wan stages the trick so intensely that he nearly scares the old man to death. He's literally shaking in his boots. Afterward, Jae-wan himself is trembling, realizing how close he came to actually killing his own father. Seeking some kind of news, he calls Soo-an. He clearly wants to know how Monet is doing, but when Soo-an shows up, he's too proud to ask. Soo-an, who sees right through him, tells him bluntly, "The chairman is having dinner with Lee." The second he hears the news, Jae-wan loses his cool and charges straight to the restaurant. But he's stuck, doesn't have a legitimate reason to be there. Thankfully, Cha-kyung steps in to save the day, pretending the two of them have a dinner date. This gives him the perfect cover to stay close to Monet. He stands there silently, eavesdropping on her conversation with Leonie. Second he's worried sick, the next he's restless with jealousy. Every single one of his expressions is caught by Cha-kyung, who realizes in that moment that she officially has zero chance of winning him back. Later, Jae-wan confronts Lee and warns him to stay the hell away from Monet. As luck would have it, director Baek, Min-yo, catches their little dispute. She acts like she doesn't know Lee at all, giving him a way out, then plays the kind mentor role to Jae-wan, warning him to be careful of that man. But here's the real kicker. Those two are secretly plotting to swallow the hotel whole. It's a classic case of the snipe and the clam fighting while the fisherman wins. Min-yo's plan is for Lee to first snatch up every single one of Monet's shares. Meanwhile, the psychological warfare against the scumbag vice chairman has officially begun. When he walks into his office, all smiles, he finds a note from Min-yo. He's instantly paralyzed with fear. Min-yo is supposed to have been dead for years. He has no idea who's playing this sick joke on him. At the same time, Soo-an invites Monet to the hotel's big performance, mentioning that the general manager personally put a ton of effort into the show. The performance kicks off with high-energy dancing from the staff. The vice chairman makes his grand entrance as the finale, performing magic tricks and giving out candy to a crowd of kids. In reality, he absolutely despises children, but he's forced to grit his teeth and play the part. When the kids swarm the stage to grab the toys and accidentally knock him over, his mood turns toxic. Backstage during the break, he can't help but rant about how much he hates those little beggars. But little does he know, the microphone was left on. His entire hateful rant is broadcast to the entire hall. The place turns into instant chaos. The vice chairman walks out, totally clueless about what just happened. His own wife and kids are in shock. They can't believe this is the man they thought they knew. When he hears the echo of his own voice through the speakers, reality hits him like a freight train. His daughter walks away in disgust, and as he tries to chase her, he trips and falls flat on his face. His public image is officially in the dumpster. Of course, this was all part of Jae-wan's master plan. Monet, watching from the crowd, starts to put the pieces together. Later, she catches the vice chairman looking absolutely pathetic. He assumes Monet was the one who sabotaged him. Monet fires back, saying the who doesn't matter, what matters is that his devil face has finally been exposed to the world. Infuriated, the old man raises his cane to strike her, but Monet doesn't flinch. "Go ahead," she dares him. "I'll use this chance to tell everyone how you beat children and lock them in bird cages. I'll show everyone what a terrifying monster you really are." Hit right where it hurts, the old man finally lowers his cane, but he vows he won't let the person who did this get away. Remembering what Soo-an said earlier, Monet realizes Jae-wan was the one behind the sabotage. To protect him from the vice chairman's wrath, she intentionally takes the blame, letting the old man believe she was the mastermind. In a fit of rage, the vice chairman tries to take his anger out on Jae-wan again, but this time, Jae-wan actually starts fighting back. Looking at the old man's desperate face, the smirk in Jae-wan's eyes is impossible to hide. And that is the end of part 1. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.